Good day, ladies and gentlemen, out of our studios here in Switzerland, in Herisau. It's my honor and pleasure, to have an interview partner today, Goldshore Resources, and Michael Henrichsen, the CEO, is here with us to get the latest news out. Michael, welcome and great to have you here.
Yeah, great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. We're on a roadshow with you guys. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm a shareholder of your company. I also want to disclose that, of course. Goldshore, we spoke at PDAC. That was beginning of March. Now it's mid of May. What happened in between?
Well, we kept drilling and we've had fantastic results. So but last time we spoke, we had the Serpentine discovery come in, a high-grade near-surface discovery. We've expanded on that now, which is good news. We think there's a good opportunity to get some high-grade into our economic plan early. And I'd also say that we drilled the best hole into the project to date. We drilled 124 meters of 1.65 grams, had 47 meters of 3 in there. Fantastic. So this drill program has exceeded our expectations, definitely.
Super, perfect. Well, drill programs, how many meters so far have been done in the project? I think it was really a lot, right?
We're close to 300,000 in total by now.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really a lot. And what is the inferred and the indicated resource now?
Well, our total resource is 6.7 million ounces. I could tell you the visibility is larger, of course, because of the drill program. And we're looking at about, I think it's 1.5 million into indicated and the balance 5.2 million in inferred.
Okay, super. So a lot in the inferred category so far, but what are your plans? Let's stick with that until year end. What do you want to achieve?
Well, we want to continue to differentiate ourselves as a developer, right? And so part of that is, of course, bringing in strong financial partners into it because, developers have got to spend some money to really de-risk their assets. So that'll be part of it. We also want to continue on with our environmental work to get ready for permitting. And then, of course, we also want to continue with our community engagement with the First Nations and ensure that we're in good condition to, again, begin the permitting process there, in 2027.
Okay, super. I saw also you had a PEA Plus out. That looks to me like that's much more than a PEA.
Yeah, certainly. When we started with G Mining, with my experience at Newmont and working very closely with engineers, you really want to know what the answers are. You don't want to hear plus or minus 50%. You want to know what levers you have to pull, right? And by working at more of a pre-feasibility level, which is what we've tried to do, and that's why we call it a PEA Plus, we actually know what we have to do. Whether it be an extra couple of years of mine life, which is what we've currently done. We expanded our drill program by 6,000 meters. There's a very little capital commitment to get that kind of result, which is what we think will happen. And then, of course, we're trying to deal with the dilution model because, if we can get an extra 0.05 grams per ton into the life of mine, it's a significant increase in the IRR of the project. So that's why it's a PEA Plus, because we're really able to understand the levers that we need to pull. And then, of course, when you put that numbers out, they'll be defendable, respectable. And as you go forward into, say, feasibility study, you don't fall on your face.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is key.
And it goes much faster, I could imagine.
It does.
Because you have all the base work done.
That's right.
Yeah, super. Is it too early? Of course, it is too early, but maybe a forward-looking statement. But if you have already a lot of this data, what would you expect with your long-term experience in the business regarding production costs, meaning AISC? I mean, gold today, 3,300, wonderful. Yeah. I think the average in the world is like 1,750, 1,800 now. My feeling would be, if I look at your company, you are below that.
Yeah, I would say that's a fair assumption to make.
Way below that.
Well, let's do the work and put it out there. But I think ultimately, I think we'll be top quartile in terms of AISC.
Super. That's a nice statement. Fantastic. Regarding your upcoming drilling, we spoke about it. That is great. What is going on regarding? Are you financed for this year? And who are your largest shareholders?
Well, of course, we're backed by SAF Group and Brian Pace Braga, so that's very important. We've got our foundational strategic investor. Currently, we have about $5.6 million in the bank, which is also important. So we're not starved of capital, and we've been very efficient with our money, so we've been able to expand our drill programs. So look, we'll be looking to continue the de-risking process in a number of ways. Ultimately, developers need capital, and of course, it's your cost of capital that counts. And so we have to be very strategic how we do that. And that's why we're really looking for additional strategic financial partners to come into the company.
Okay, super. Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, all in all, that looks really great. One thing I saw, your resource is like 1.1, 1.2 grams, I would call it, but I saw a lot of good drill results, like with 13 grams, 8 grams, etc. What does that mean for the future?
Look, I mean, obviously, if you can bolster your grades upward, that's going to be very
It helps
positive.
always.
And, we had very positive results underneath the shallowest part of our open pit, underneath the southwest zone, and we drilled 20.5 meters of 2.6. The new serpentine discovery is looking like it could be 6 grams over a few holes. I mean, obviously, lots of work to do there. But we're seeing grades start to hang together. And that's important. As the drill density increases, we might be positively surprised by how we can define some high-grade pods within the deposit. And that, of course, will help the overall grade.
Okay, super. What I found also really interesting what you told me in the car is that like the infrastructure, the whole setup of the project sounds outstanding. I mean, you can, what you said, from Thunder Bay, and 1 hour later you were on the project and the coffee was still like, not maybe totally hot, but still warm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from an infrastructure standpoint, I mean, it's first rate. I mean, literally, the project itself is 10 kilometers off the Trans-Canada. There's power right there. In terms of can it be built? 100%. That is a major, major advantage to the project. And the scale of the project, of course, really requires that you're near that kind of infrastructure. If this deposit was, in the middle of nowhere, that's a bigger ask for everybody, obviously. But this is doable, without question.
Right. Yeah, I mean, also looking at exploration potential, I saw one slide in your presentation where those yellow corridors, and I think your resource is just from one yellow corridor where you had those red lines in there, but there was the same size below that. Does that mean that is the next big exploration target?
Look, I asked myself a few questions as a geologist. First off, the first thing that surprised me was usually you get to a plus 5 million ounce deposit and it's been completely explored. There's no room, and geologists then have to become very creative and it gets very difficult. In this case, we're just back to first principles. Collect geochemistry, collect geophysics, compare it to the deposit, see similar patterns, start drilling. Right? My estimation is that these deposits don't just sit there alone. There should be satellites. So the questions I ask myself, is there 1 million ounces of 2 grams per ton out there on surface that would be highly accretive?
That would be lovely.
Some high-grade veins, or perhaps it goes well past 10 million ounces with another big bulk tonnage discovery. But to even be in that position, to even ask those questions to yourself, that really demonstrates how this district and this deposit is emerging. This is new. There's going to be all sorts of new discoveries that are probably made within our land package.
Okay, super. Do you think you need maybe 1 or 2 more strategic partners, given the size of the project?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big part of us differentiating ourselves to other developers. Obviously, developers are in a position where they have to raise capital, and you want to show that you have the commitment of several strong groups. And then all of a sudden that people go, hey, wait a second, these guys are actually going to do it. They're going to stick to the timelines that they said they would. And that again is very important in terms of sticking to your timelines, doing what you say you're going to do, and ultimately advancing this. And then as the de-risking process happens, everybody knows.
Absolutely.
The re-rates happen, right?
Yeah, correct. You said de-risking. Where do you see the biggest risk over the next 12 to 18 months?
I view it as the holistic de-risk, there's technical de-risking. We have a lot of drilling to do. Okay, so that's part of it. But also to continue the environmental work, that's key. You can't ignore it. And it's an investment that you must make.
Absolutely.
Working with the First Nations, that's very important. And what you'll see from us over the next, several months is announcements on all 3. We are de-risking holistically. So when you ask me what is the biggest risk, it's not doing it together. That is the biggest risk.
That's right. Absolutely. So that means we have, great, let's say, 6 to 9 months in front of us, I would call it.
Absolutely.
And you're doing all the things together. And I think community relations first, and that's super important aside of a good project, because they can block everything. And when you have them on board, I think you're ready to go.
That's right.
Super. Fantastic. Your 3 USPs for the project?
Say again, sorry?
Your 3 USPs, your unique selling points, you would say this project is the biggest advantage.
Scale.
Yeah.
Number one, where I see visibility past our current resource level, without question. The drill data supports that. Infrastructure, incredible. You're right there. And then what I would say, the third one that's a differentiator is the growth potential, the true growth potential within the district. And that to me is really the three features that sort of set us apart from most.
Super. Perfect. That was a great final sentence and word. Thank you very much, Michael. We wish you all the best, of course. And
thank you.
I would say just keep delivering as you always did.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it was Michael Henrichsen, the CEO of Goldshore Resources. Yeah, you heard it, a fantastic gold project, the Moss project, what they are working on. It is in the development stage already, almost 7 million ounces here of gold. But going, my feeling is shortly to 8 million ounces this year, probably as the drills are hitting. And I have a very good feeling that this will be one of the next big gold mines in Canada within the next 4 to 5 years, probably. And you really should check out this wonderful company because the stock price is way too cheap. We have a first price target here of 60 to 70 cents. And we saw also Paradigm came out with a $1.20 price target here for the company. We can imagine that also given the delivery rate of this fantastic management. So really check it out. Thanks for watching us and bye from Switzerland today.